What's up, guys? It's me. I'm back with another video, a late video, but I need to get this out tonight before I go to bed at work tomorrow. Because this is part 5 of the Road to Revenge Alexa Charlotte story series, Clash in the Castle, which I'm excited for the actual pay-per-view, which is tomorrow. Except I have to miss 2/3 of it because I'm gonna be at work. Um, because time zones. But anyway, as far as predictions for that show will go, that will be tomorrow morning before I go to work. And you might get a little bit extra in that video. We'll see. But with that being said, if you have not seen the previous 4 parts, please go check those out. Playlists will be linked in the description below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss out on future videos and streams. Make sure you use code ANJJ for $5 off on orders of $30 or more at Circuit Meet Diecast. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into this. So, week 1. Before we get into the Raw after SummerSlam, we need to go back to SummerSlam and take a look at what happened between Bianca, Liv, and Rhea. As I've said, I'm going to give a Bianca update at the beginning of each video. So, Bianca is in a triple threat match between herself, Liv, and Rhea for the Raw Women's title. Hard hitter. And the close of the match sees Rhea attempt to hit Riptide on Bianca. She has Bianca up, but Bianca is trying to fight out of Rhea's grip, which prevents Rhea from getting set to hit the move. Liv runs into them and from behind, knocks him into the ropes. Bianca falls out of Rhea's arms onto the outside. Rhea's up against the ropes. Liv sees it, is like, oh shit, this is my shot. Backs up, runs at Rhea again, hits Oblivion, then pins Rhea to win the title, her first championship in her entire WWE career to this point. And Bianca looks on in shock from the outside while Liv's in the ring crying tears of joy. Which, let me just point this out real quick. It's insane that she never won the tag titles with the Riot Squad. It literally makes no sense to me. But anyway, so we get to Raw. And the now SmackDown Women's Champion, I should say, and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, alongside Lily Nadal, Becky, and Bayley, show up to open the show. Alexa with a promo here. She boasts about finally defeating Charlotte Flair, becoming the first to defeat all 4 members. I held up 5, I meant 4 members of the 4 Horsewomen on the main roster, having finally defeated Charlotte after obviously having lost the previous 2 times. Survivor Series a couple years ago, and last year at Extreme Rules. Now, I think the only person that's close to potentially doing the same thing is, funny enough, Bianca. Who does she need to beat? Charlotte. Then again, that's usually how that goes. Alexa's tone switches from happy to serious at various points in time, and Alexa says, "At long last, I finally have the top prize of the women's division over my shoulder once again. I've gone way too long without holding either the Raw or SmackDown Women's title, and it felt so good to not only win this title at SummerSlam, but to defeat Charlotte Flair in the process made it even better. It made the wait all the more worth it, not just to win this title, but to finally defeat Charlotte Flair, to finally topple the Queen and remove her from her throne, let alone become the first to defeat all 4 horsewomen one-on-one. It is the sweetest feeling in the world for me right now, and it will only get better." Looking into the camera, directly into the camera, she says, "Charlotte, I want to make this clear before we inevitably meet again on Friday. As long as I'm holding this title, you're never getting it back. You can certainly try, but you will not win it back." And Alexa hoists the title in the air and laughs for a few moments, then says, "I'll be enjoying the rest of tonight as my last night on Raw full time for the foreseeable future. So I hope you'll follow me and my friends over to SmackDown as I go on to dominate there. To the rest of the SmackDown Women's division, be warned. You mess with me, with us, and you will regret it." The lights transition to red, then fade to black as commercial ensues. During hour number 2, this is where things get interesting. And there's a reason why I have this written in. I'm not going to write the whole thing beyond this one episode out of this actual 5 week build period because they had the entire month of August to build to Clash in the Castle. But during the second hour of Raw, Bianca runs into Alexa backstage, or rather, vice versa. Alexa eyes the former champ, smiling devilishly at her, and motions her to a nearby room, letting her in first. She turns to the cameraman following them and says, "Leave now," pushing the camera away before shutting the door and locking it for good measure, leaving fans and in attendance and at home confused, as well as commentary who have no idea what's going on. And Alexa has a little conversation with Bianca. During the third hour of Raw, this is where that comes to a head. Liv Morgan comes out to address her Raw Women's title victory at SummerSlam. Again, the first time she's won championship gold in her entire career to this point. And as she does, Rhea Ripley comes out to challenge Liv. However, before she can do that, Bianca interrupts. She snatches the mic from Rhea and storms into the ring. "You," she exclaims at Liv, surprising her, of course, "you are not a champion. You are a fraud. You stole my title from me. You never even pinned me." Fans are taken aback by Bianca's sudden change in demeanor, and Liv responds, "Whoa, whoa, Bianca, relax. What the heck's got into you?" Bianca, seething, responds, "You don't tell me to relax, and I'm not gonna relax until I have that damn title back around my waist, you undeserving bitch." She then drops the mic and brutally attacks Liv to the surprise of everyone, including Rhea, who is a heel. And Alexa peeks out from the back momentarily, smiles happily, and then heads back to the back. So I will address this in the beginning of next video, which will be part 6, Extreme Rules. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, things are getting interesting. On SmackDown, Alexa comes out for another promo, again alongside Becky Bailey with Lily in hand. But Charlotte quickly interrupts, saying, "Not so fast, Bliss," before entering the ring. "Really, Charlotte?" Alexa says, shaking her head low. "I'm not done with you. I'm getting my rematch," which is what Charlotte responds with. Alexa laughs, and Charlotte says, "What's so funny?" Bliss responds, "See, you just expect to get a rematch against me, like you would against anybody else. And of course you would. You're Charlotte Flair. I'm the queen," and all that. I love how Alexa mocks Charlotte whenever with that, but that's besides the point. Um, Alexa steps forward, slaps Charlotte, and then in an aggressive tone says, "That's not how it will work with me." Charlotte looks at her stunned, and Alexa steps back and smiles. "Instead, you'll be facing my friend Becky Lynch here. You know each other quite well, and you'll have another amazing match." Which makes sense because it's the UK. Becky should be on the card. There you go. Um, Becky then steps up and gets in Charlotte's face with a crazy look in her eyes. Charlotte tries to get around Becky, but she shoves Charlotte into the ropes. Flair gets out of dodge, and Lynch chases her to the back. Alexa laughs, then says, with her out of the way, "Let's address my Clash in the Castle opponent, shall we? There are several potential challengers here on SmackDown, but I've already scouted someone out. A local, if you will." She stares into the camera and then says, "Isla Dawn, I want you at Clash in the Castle." The crowd and commentary are stunned, and Alexa just gives off her evil smile as the camera fades. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I do that? Well, the answer is rather simple, because in real life, not only are we getting Clash in the Castle, but we're also getting Worlds Collide. I believe, third installment of that. And in this case, it's to unite NXT and NXT UK, as NXT UK is going on hiatus until next year, where it's rebranded to NXT Europe. Now, a lot of NXT UK talent was let go. I'm presuming much of that was because it was talent preferring to stay in the UK rather than come to the US, which is understandable. Isla Dawn was not one of those who was released. And I figure This is a match that I think people want to see. Isla Dawn has this dark character. It's different from Alexa's, don't get me wrong, but she has her dark character on NXT UK, and I want to see that brought to either NXT or the main roster. And in my booking, having her go up against Alexa, which is outside of facing Miku Satomura for the NXT UK Women's title over there, this is probably going to be one of, if not the biggest match in Isla's WWE career to this point. And why not? You know? So the following week on NXT UK, Isla Dawn responds to Alexa's call out. Oh, what a wonderful surprise, Isla begins. Alexa Bliss wants to face me at Clash in the Castle for her championship? Ooh, such an interesting proposition. And it is one that I'm more than happy to accept. The UK crowd pops for Isla's acceptance of the challenge. She then continues, You may be dark, all dark and crazy, but I promise you, I'm even crazier. Be prepared. Remember, when she was in that feud with Miku, she stole Miku's title. No, she didn't win it. Stole it from her and was holding on to it for a hot minute during that feud. So, yeah, why not? On SmackDown, Alexa responds while on Alexa's playground. Bayley and Becky stand behind her. Lily's on the other swing. First, I'd like to thank Isla Dawn for accepting my challenge for Clash in the Castle. I've been paying close attention to her work for the longest time, and it intrigued me. You said earlier this week that you're crazier than me, and that may be true, but between Lily and me, you've never met someone more sinister. And I want you to be prepared for what you will face. You've never faced someone like me before, and this will be the biggest match you've ever had. And you know, and she pauses for a moment, lets this simmer a little, before saying, I think I'll be paying you a visit next week, so we can meet face to face. She smirks, looking at the camera as the camera fades out, and Isla has a video sent in, which is shown later, where she says she'd be more than happy to welcome Alexa to, quote, her realm. So, this is huge. And again, NXT UK is going on hiatus. It's going to become NXT Europe. So, in this build, why not have one of WWE's biggest stars in their female roster ever, arguably speaking, especially of the modern era, pay a visit to NXT UK, something you don't really see. I mean, when it comes to talent moving across brands, we've seen NXT and NXT UK swap people around in the last couple of months, but you don't really see that from guys from the main roster. This would be huge. So, it's, not just for the feud, but just to have one of WWE's main roster talents spend a little time on NXT UK. Why not? Charlotte runs into Sasha backstage, and things are very tense between the two of them, as it should be, because you know their history. Charlotte says they need to put past differences aside and unite to take down Alexa and reunite the four horsewomen. Excuse me. Sasha seems reluctant, but when Charlotte says, Would you rather have Becky Bayley stalking you or beside you? Sasha decides it'd be best to join and help Charlotte. They shake hands, Charlotte leaves, and then Sasha turns and is immediately met with a sudden appearance from Becky and Bayley, who surround her. Watch your back, Becky says darkly, before Sasha is able to back away and run. Now, some of these promos might seem a little bit short. Keep in mind, there's obviously more to them. I'm just kind of giving the gist. You can figure out more on your own if you'd like. It's up to you. But there you go. So, week 3, the big moment happens. Isla Dawn enters the ring on NXT UK and announces the arrival of SmackDown Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, who comes to the ring with Lily. Bayley and Becky remain in the United States. The crowd chants emphatically for Alexa, and Alexa thanks the crowd for their gracious response. Yes, Alexa is technically a heel, but she's also playing face card at points in time. She switches back and forth. She's not full heel, but she's not full baby face, and it's not necessarily a tweener thing. It's just Alexa's damn good when it comes to acting and can play both roles really freaking good. And this especially is going to help showcase that. Alexa and Isla have a stare down, and the UK crowd is just chanting holy shit, as WWE crowds will do sometimes. Isla says, we finally meet. Alexa agrees with finally and says, it has been a long time coming, but destiny and fate have finally brought us together on this glorious day. She gives her signature smirk, then says, I've been studying you back home. You are quite the honorable competitor, but you've never faced someone like me before. Again, reiterating that statement. And you'll be in for a wild ride when you face me. Isla gives off her sinister laugh, then replies, as I've never faced someone like you, you've never faced someone like me before. She then points to the SmackDown Women's title and says, hold that title tight and close every night, because at Clash in the Castle, I will shock the world and dethrone you. Alexa scoffs and replies, we'll see about that. The crowd continues to chant, holy shit, as the segment fades to black. On SmackDown, Becky and Bayley defend the tag titles in a match against Indy and Zia. It's kind of a thrown together thing, but it's more to help with what happens after. And the match just goes in a few short minutes. Charlotte and Sasha come out, mics in hand, and Charlotte addresses the duo, saying that they've been brainwashed by Alexa and that they have forgotten who they are, and that they are half of the four horsewomen, and also reiterates that she is more than willing to beat the crap out of Becky to knock some sense into her. Becky gets a mic and points at Sasha, completely ignoring Charlotte, mind you, but points at Sasha and says darkly and slowly, you choose to side with a traitor. Because, a traitor in terms of the division, because Charlotte's always been the one to be pushed the most. Sasha responds, only to knock some sense into both of you. Neither of you should be like this. We need to stand together again. Becky snarls, and then Alexa appears on the Titantron. Oh, Sasha, you just can't get away from the queen, makes a gag look. Which makes can you? Seriously, you two are practically attached at the hip, which makes sense since she almost always beats you. To which Alexa does her evil laugh, and Sasha gets pissed off and responds, how would you get your little ass down here, bitch? Because Sasha can say that word damn frickin' well. Bayley and Becky have at this point come out of the ring, run over. Becky shoves Charlotte off the entrance ramp, for the most part. And both her and Bayley shove Sasha down, pinning her arms behind her back and down to the floor. Sasha screams, trying to get out of it. They won't get off of her. And then Alexa comes out to face her. She kneels down, smiles, and says something to Sasha, which the mics don't pick up. What they do pick up is Sasha saying, you bitch, afterward. And then Alexa spits black mist in Sasha's face before the trio leaves and Banks is left to be attended to by Flair. Very interesting stuff. So we get to week 4. On SmackDown, a replay is shown of Alexa's actions the week prior, including the misspit to Sasha, to which Alexa acknowledges this in a backstage segment by saying, quote, soon enough, she will find her purpose through the punishment of her actions. Later, Charlotte and Alexa meet in ring, with Alexa and Bayley standing beside Becky as she stares down Charlotte, while a shaken Sasha stands behind Charlotte. I've beaten you before, I'll beat you again, Charlotte says to Becky. Becky snarls at her and strikes her, then stares at Sasha, who glances away. So clearly Sasha's still very much shaken by what had happened. Mind if I join the party? Isla Dawn says. Her music goes off. She comes out. The crowd is stunned. They were not expecting this at all. I think this might be Isla's first appearance in the United States with being with WWE, if I'm not mistaken. She walks down the ramp to that said reaction. By the way, this is in the main event spot, which makes it even bigger. And she stands across the ring from Alexa, who has Lily in hand, while Charlotte and Becky stare daggers into each other as the show ends. Obviously, there's more promo material here than what I have listed, and you can figure that out on your own. But again, for the most part, this is the basic gist of things. So, week 5, the final week before Clash of the Castle. Just like in real life, SmackDown is pre-taped the week prior, after the previous week's SmackDown is shown. And we get a recap package of the events of the build to both matches, with Alexa giving remarks to her match with Isla, as well as Becky's match with Charlotte, Charlotte giving remarks to her match with Becky, and Isla giving remarks to her match with Alexa. So all the way around, it's just continuing to, promote this build. So we then get to Clash in the Castle. Charlotte and Becky open the show. Charlotte enters with Sasha, and Sasha's completely on edge. Becky and Bayley come out after, and the match begins not long after. In of itself, it is a harder hitting match compared to past Charlotte and Becky matches, especially from Becky, who attacks Charlotte ruthlessly. Sasha and Bayley watch from the outside, with Sasha constantly watching over her shoulder. Charlotte has to keep trying to mount a comeback, but Becky continues her onslaught, not willing to let up. And Charlotte has to go for underhanded tactics at points in time, getting a little help from Charlotte here and there, once, of course, the boss is focused enough to do so, to get an upper hand on Becky. And it ends up resulting in Flair rolling Lynch up for the win. So she doesn't hit natural selection during this match, which would be her finisher, of course. And then Becky and Bayley proceed to attack Sasha after the match before leaving the ring and leaving Charlotte to attend the Fallen Horsewomen, continuing to play into Sasha's eventual turn because she's just going to keep getting scared of Becky and Bayley, and by extension Alexa, until she turns. Stay tuned for that. So Alexa versus Isla for the SmackDown Women's title happens in the middle of the show, and you may or may not be happy with what I choose to end this match with, but I will explain. There'll probably be more explanation when I do part 6. But both combatants have mysterious, borderline creepy-esque dark entrances and face each other in the center of the ring before locking up and getting the match underway. And it's a match that just goes back and forth for just over 15 damn minutes, like closer to 16 or 17 minutes, if I'm being honest. And they just keep matching each other no matter what they do. They don't give each other any sort of leverage, not even an inch. And it's practically nonstop action for the most part, which makes it even better. And the fans are losing their minds because they did not expect to see Isla Dawn, one of NXT UK's own, on a main roster PLE, Premium Live event, going up against one of, a multi-time WWE champion across Raw, SmackDown, and the tag titles, as well as that short little 24/7 thing. Yeah. And in the end, the match goes into a stalemate with both combatants knowing they're giving it everything they have, but they just cannot beat each other. And they end up meeting in the center of the ring once again. Excuse me. The lights start to dim and eventually go out, and when they come back up, both opponents are gone, with their evilistic laughs playing in the stadium, and the camera pans to a note in the center of the ring, which reads, "Respect is earned. You earned it, Alexa." So this is basically to say that the match between Alexa and Isla wasn't necessarily to determine a winner, but it was more so about respect. And they bust their ass to get to that point, and Alexa realizes, yeah, she's earned my respect. And Isla has one hell of a match in of her own right and does really well, especially for a main roster debut, essentially, when it's not official that she's moving up that far. It's some really awesome stuff. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know what that end part was, but regardless, I hope y'all enjoyed.